You are in the right place to learn more about perspectives on Worcester's middle school from both faculty members and students. The students, as sort of the cherry on top of the program, will be activating their cameras in about 25 minutes. The beginning of the program, you'll be hearing from and getting to know myself and my colleague Megan Christian and my colleague Molly Newman. And I think with that, we're happy to see everybody, and we'll begin with some personal introductions. So how about Molly, why don't you begin, and then Megan, and just name, grade level, subjects taught, and then the more substantial question, what brought you to Worcester and what keeps you at Worcester? And we'll start there and then move forward. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Molly Newman, and I teach 7th and 8th grade humanities, in particular English, at Wooster School. This is my 3rd year at Wooster. And when I came to Wooster, I was looking for a place that I could be along with my children. I have 2 daughters in 7th grade and 9th grade, and they both attend Wooster School. And what really stood out to me about Wooster was the open mindset towards the topic of education. And I've worked at a few different types of schools in the past. I've worked at a traditional college prep school, I've worked at an art school, and I've worked at a public school. So I feel like I've had a range of experiences, and I felt like Worcester really brought a lot of the best components of many of those experiences. I really love how Worcester focuses on the latest science around learning and brain science, and encourages both faculty and students alike to constantly think about how we learn best and to try new approaches. That's something that I really love in my teaching, is the opportunity to try new things or do a new project. And so I love that Worcester offers that opportunity. And, it's a really welcoming and warm place. I love that it's a small place. I think that that makes room for everyone to be themselves. And I think that that captures why I chose Worcester and also why I've stayed here.
Thanks, Molly. Hi, guys. My name is Megan Christian. I am the early middle school humanities teacher. So in the early middle school, which is our 5th and 6th grade combined looping program, I teach both social studies and the language arts program. I came to Worcester a little differently. My journey to get there was through athletics. I coached for a volleyball club that practiced in the gyms, and met a few teachers in that process. And one of them said, "Hey, did you ever think about teaching?" And I was like, "I actually am a teacher." So 6 years ago, I joined Worcester as their kindergarten teacher. And I bring about 20 years plus experience into the EMS classroom with my colleague, Mrs. Lingenheld, Kelsey Lingenheld, who also has many, many years of experience. And I think, across the 20 years, I've taught kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, never 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And I love this EMS program. This is our 1st year that we are launching it. And so far, it's January something, I have loved it. It has worked so well for us as teachers and for the students. And it's just a really neat, innovative thing that Worcester decided to do. And that's part of the reason why I love Worcester, is that they never say this is the way it's done. They change and adapt to the kids. We change and adapt for our classrooms. And that has just been a fun ride. And I foresee it going well in the future. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks, Molly. Thanks, Megan. My name is Pete Lingenheld. Nice to see everybody. I am halfway through my 16th year as a Worcester Middle School faculty member. I'm a science teacher on the 7th and 8th grade team, and I'm one of 2 deans of students in the middle school. What brought me to Worcester, quite literally, was it was the one job that I was offered when I was 27 years old and seeking to transition into a more formal educational setting. I think, to expand a little bit, they were at that time, and continue to be, open to someone with my set of experiences. So I had been an outdoor educator at some residential programs. I was and continue to be a summer camp counselor and co-director. And they made space for me to enter the community, and I've been really engaged and happy since. What keeps me at Wooster, brief anecdote, I had a moment of realization. This was maybe the end of last school year. At the end of the year, once the kids have departed, we'll have a day or two to just sort of sit and write progs and enter data. And I was doing my data entry, and I've been sitting at my computer for 3 hours, and I said to myself, I said, I'm so bored right now. I literally can't stand this. And that really affirmed for me that, like, I think I'm just a high engagement person. Like, I'm a high personal engagement kind of spirit and professional. And I think that social engagement, the intellectual engagement that both Megan and Molly alluded to. And Worcester's a great school because we're always walking places. So there's a lot of opportunity to get up and move around and be outdoors every day. So those things combine to make it a really great workplace. Of course, in addition to our wonderful students and wonderful colleagues. We're going to move forward in terms of information that many registered attendees were seeking tonight. A very common thread was, I just really want to understand more. What's a day like there? What would it be like for my student? So if we could just, in a broad way, Megan first about EMS, and then Molly toward the 7th and 8th grade experience. Just describe generally what would a typical scheduled day be like for a student in your grade level.
Okay, so I'll go first. So it's definitely different for EMS in terms of their homeroom type experience. So they come to school at 8:45 and they immediately come up to our classroom and do a wake up with writing. So that gives them a chance to kind of come in at different times, but have something that they're working on, and it's consistent every day. Then, so let's just take a typical Monday. They would come in, have their wake up with writing. And then of our children, we split into 2 groups so that we have smaller group size, and some go to math and some go to Spanish. Then they flip-flop. Some come back to another group of math while others go to science. Then we come back for a whole group together once again, where I will teach reading, which would consist of possibly a writing workshop, maybe it's book clubs, maybe it's a spelling unit. So it's anything that falls under our language arts. Then we go to lunch, where we are able to sit with sometimes 7th graders, sometimes 8th graders, and sometimes just with our advisors, which is nice as well. On a Monday, we also have something called chapel, which is a all middle school type activity where we will sit and talk about some social emotional learning, or sometimes it's focused on holiday specific events. We have quite a few EMS students that sit on a committee for chapel and help with the way that that progresses, with the planning and with the actual functionality of that period. And they have social studies, which is one of my favorite times of the day. We're currently finishing up a culture unit, and then we're going to go into ancient Egyptian civilizations, which is so much fun. And then again, they'll split up, and some will go to art and some will go to makerspace. They have PE every day. And then they come back to us to end their day with an enriched reading type activity, snack, and jobs. So they see us a lot, but there's an in and out, there's movement. They do get to separate from one another. They see lots of different faces. There is a level of, at the beginning of the year, there's a level of, we all kind of stay together. We walk them to class. We're giving them lots of support in terms of that. And now, January, we say bye, and they go to art and they go to music, and they are able to get there independently in a timely fashion. And that's been huge growth for our early middle school students. So that's an average day for a student.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit about our 7th and 8th graders. And we, of course, have certain things that are in common, such as chapel that Megan talked about. The 7th and 8th graders begin their day at 8:45 with a check-in with their advisor. And that's pretty casual. It's an opportunity to see how everybody's feeling about the day. Lately, our 8th graders have been shadowing in the upper school, so that's been a big topic of conversation among my advisees. We've been talking about that, some of the logistics, how they're feeling. You could check in on workload. If you have anything that you need help with your advisor from, that's a good opportunity for that. Then the students are off to their AM1 period, which is a co-curricular period. So That might be Spanish, that might be makerspace, that might be health, that might be art. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. I think those are the range of offerings. And then after that, they have 2 academic periods. And the way that our schedule works, it flip-flops. So 2 mornings a week, they have their humanities period, 2 mornings a week, they have science and math, and then it'll flip. And so they'll have that in the afternoon. So after their co-curricular, they would either have English and history, or they would have science and math. And then we go to lunch. And after lunch, they would have another co-curricular period. And then if, whatever they didn't have, if they had science or math, they would have their English and history. And we have 2 40-minute blocks for science and math and English and history, but there's also flexibility there. So sometimes if we're working on a project involving both classes, we might have a longer block. If one of the teachers is working on a project, we might have a longer English block or a longer history block, and we have that flexibility to work that out among us teachers. So after the academic classes in the afternoon, the students have one more co-curricular period, which is a music period, and they have several options as far as music classes. And then they have sports from 3 o'clock to 3:45. And again, they have several options as far as sports goes. And then at 3:45, they're dismissed. So that would be a normal day, but we also have other days where we do activities like community time, which is a time for the whole community to get together and do fun activities, or do a craft or a competition or a lip sync. And so, there is some variety in the schedule from day to day.
Pete, I forgot recess.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Molly. Yeah, go ahead, Megan.
We have recess.
Oh, of course, yes.
Early middle school has recess every day.
Thank you. And Molly, I was keeping some tally marks in your detailed description. So I think that would make, on a typical day, 8 scheduled periods for 7th and 8th grade students, not including lunch. So busy days and a lot of great learning opportunities and a lot of activity throughout their day. We're going to talk a little bit more about the community aspect of being a Wooster faculty member and a Wooster family and a Wooster student, and we'll tunnel down a little bit more in detail into some of the teaching and learning perspectives and experiences subsequently. A Wooster difference that I think is an attractive one for many prospective families and students is that we are a small community in a small division. And I think that people are understanding that size can facilitate a community experience and community feeling and relationships between students and certainly students and faculty members that can be impactful. So, and again, we can start with Megan and Molly, and I'll chime in afterward. How do you see the small size of the division and the opportunity for adult and students to form relationships? How do you see that play out in your daily work? And this could be in the classroom or outside of the classroom, however you'd like to respond.
So I think EMS is unique because we get 2 years with our students. So that small group, that kind of consistency with knowing the kids as a learner it's given a greater opportunity to grow. So for example, I can only speak to what I've done in the past, and I had 4th graders here, and some of them are on the call tonight as 8th graders. And as I followed them kind of up, it made each year that much quicker to start because I already knew them and how they best experience things. So it's just a really neat opportunity. And I'm afraid you guys get to do that as well because we see them grow. We see them in such a unique way. For 5th and 6th grade next year, our 5th graders will be our leaders and our 6th graders. They have completely different curriculum, and yet they're still with us. They still know the routines. They still know what the expectations are in our classrooms. And so I just think that that's such a neat thing. And even the communication that I then have with Molly, it helps her see those 7th and 8th graders as learners come in. So it's just it is very unique.
Well, we are lucky enough to get our 7th and 8th graders for 2 years too. And the New York Times published a story this year about that factor of teachers having students for multiple years as being a huge factor in terms of student success. And I think that, when Megan spoke to that, it resonated so much with me because a couple of the students that we'll hear from later, I've had 2 year, I had them last year as 7th graders. I have them this year as 8th graders. And it's a really wonderful opportunity for us to just dive right in, knowing the kids, knowing what they need, knowing how to challenge them, and already having that interpersonal relationship in place, which is wonderful. Um, as far as the adults and, our community, we are doing everything together all day, right? So another part of the schedule that we haven't talked about yet with 7th and 8th is we have something called WIN time, which stands for What I Need. And WIN period is basically a very supported study hall time. So the kids have an opportunity to work on their work, and they are expected to check in with their teachers during that time. And we make it very easy for them because all of us teachers are in the WIN time period with them. So, it may start in the beginning of the year where maybe we're being a little bit more proactive and saying, Henry, what are you working on? Or would you like some help with this? And we're hoping that as the year progresses, they become more proactive and say, Mr. Lingenheld, I need help with my science homework, or let's go talk about this experiment that we did. And I think that's just another touch point among many that we have with the kids, and where the teachers are working alongside the students, and we can constantly check in and say, wow, I noticed such wonderful progress from this student in their writing, and Pete may say the same thing, right? And we have this communication about the student's progress that's constant and ongoing. So we really are able to get to know the kids so well, get to know their needs, and tailor our education accordingly.
Thank you for those responses. I was thinking to myself about this question today, and I recalled that before the holiday season, I attended a Wooster event that was very well attended by some young Wooster alums. So college students into their sort of early and mid 20s. And I can't believe that like I'm actually saying this to some degree, but they're young people, young adults that I taught in 6th grade, or maybe I was their 6th grade advisor. And that might have been our shared classroom experience, but having known them through middle school, and it was like they never left, and that was really, I think, illustrative to me of how deep connections can, not always, but can run in the right school community, and that those are things that can take root and really, in some instances, be decadal or longer. Relationships. So that was a really cool experience for me. Down to scale, something that I've loved on a more daily basis in real time this year has been our Wednesday Mix It Up lunches. So we'd always wanted to have mixed grade level lunch seating to try and build some bridges between, create connections and friendship potentials in different grades. And I feel like we've really hit our stride. We have a great colleague, our Spanish teacher, friend Jacob, who printed out some decks of get to know you questions. And I feel like those mix it up tables have really kind of hit their stride. And you see kids of all different grade levels sitting with an adult that may or may not be a teacher of theirs, and just laughing, getting to know each other, and talking about what character from a comic book they'd like to eat dinner with. We're going to get into a little bit more granular level in terms of like a teaching and learning perspective on the middle school. The wind up on this question is that within the last 2 or 3 years, we've adapted and embraced a teaming approach as grade level and subject level teachers in the middle school. This is very clearly visible in Mrs. Christian's classroom. That's a shared space with Mrs. L, who's the early middle school co-teacher, but equally influential for 7th and 8th grade teachers. In the 7th and 8th grade model, most teachers, most often, most teachers will teach both grade levels, resulting in many students having a teacher for 2 consecutive years. And Molly and Megan already were able to explicate the benefits that can result from that continuity. Additionally, we have weekly team meetings for communication and planning, monthly meetings with upper school and middle school teachers in similar subject areas, weekly STEM and humanities blocks that are distinct from core math and science or English and history classes, and many ad hoc opportunities to communicate and collaborate each day and week. From the perspective of students, how do you think teaming adds value to learning in the middle school? And let's invert, and maybe we'll start with Molly and then.
Yeah, so one thing I would add as well is that we have an additional bridge teacher, and the bridge teacher, one of our students can speak to her experience in bridge. The bridge teacher is designed to provide support and scaffolding for to provide differentiation of learning for students. And so in 7th and 8th grade, our bridge teacher visits about 4 of our classes per week. And so we have weekly meetings with humanities and bridge to make sure that we're providing differentiation in our instruction, in our assignments, to check in on individual students and their progress. And I think that's extremely helpful. Also, having that additional teacher in the classroom allows us to do things like stations or to do some team teaching. Also, I referred to this a little bit earlier, having that regular team contact allows us to explore what we're each doing individually in our classrooms and explore the overlaps that we see and opportunities for possible projects. In 8th grade, we have a project that we've been working on for, this will be our 3rd year that we do with both humanities and English together. It's a project called Witness Stones, and the students research the life of a formerly enslaved individual in the Danbury area and do primary source research and write a biography of the individual and then plan a ceremony that honors that individual. And it's a very, very special, amazing project. And it's been great working as a team to refine it. And during that period, we're meeting as a humanities team for the duration of the project. So having the opportunity to do that and to have the flexibility in our schedule if we want to break out from the norm is really wonderful.
As I mentioned at the beginning, coming from an elementary past where I was the only teacher in a classroom teaching everything from nuts to bolts from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, having someone else in the room at all times is just amazing from so many perspectives, from a creativity level, from a classroom management perspective. It just adds so much depth to the day. At the creativity level, it's just fun to bounce ideas off somebody. We are very project-based learning at Wooster. Not a whole lot of tests, not a whole lot of quizzes, lots of projects. And those projects sometimes are at home and sometimes they're in the classroom. And it's helpful when there's someone else in there that knows exactly what the expectations are, knows exactly what and how to help the kiddos get those things done from start to finish. And so that has been a really neat area, and it's something that challenged me at the beginning, coming from a classroom where I was the one who made the decisions, and it's made me grow, I think, as a teacher in a very positive way, and be open to maybe my way is not always the best way. So that's I appreciate that challenge.
Thank you for those responses. Yeah, it's been very gratifying for me to see I believe that our students are understanding more and more that learning and information and skills are not easily sorted into subject categories and stowed away when your focus is somewhere else. I think that kids are starting to understand what STEM means and that math and science are innately connected, and the learning and skills we develop in those classes can be used to enhance our focus and our work in a humanities class. I know that my 7th and 8th grade humanities colleagues often are entirely complementary experiences, and that I could almost see our students being confused if you ask them specifically, was this project an English project or a history project? And I could see them trying to make sense of that because the concept of humanities as its own broader concept is, I think, really real to them. So that's very gratifying to see. All right, friends, you have made it through the dynamic warm-up. I'm very pleased to welcome our 4 student panelists that are joining us. There we have 2 8th graders, a 6th grader, and a 5th grader. I've got some questions to run through with them, influenced by the feedback and responses that folks were seeking in your registration forms. There's Henry, there's Kayla, there's Chloe. For the flush, here's William. All right, great to see you all. Thank you again for being here during dinner hour. And we're going to begin with introductions. And would you kindly share? Oh, and for everyone's, just edification, teachers, feel free to jump in and out, and as conversational as this can be, the better. Kiddos, if you would kindly just say your name, your grade, the number of years you've been at Wooster, and the town that you live in, so we can have some names and faces, and then we'll jump in and learn about the experience from your perspective. And we'll go William, Chloe, Kayla, Henry, in that order. Thanks.
Hello, my name is William. I have been at Wooster for about 3 months. I started a month and a half into the school year, and I'm from Danbury, Connecticut. And I'm in 5th grade.
Hi, my name is Chloe. I'm in 6th grade, and I've been at Worcester for 2 years, and I live in Danbury, Connecticut.
Hi, I'm Kayla. I'm in 8th grade. This is my 2nd year here, and I live in Brewster.
Hi, I'm Henry. I've been at Worcester since 2nd grade, which was when we had an elementary school. I live in Brookfield, so yeah.
Great, thank you all, and so nice to have you join us tonight. For these first 1 or 2 questions, we're going to have all of our panelists respond, and then as we move forward, we'll have a sampling from this great crew and try to cover a lot of ground so that folks can really get an understanding of what it's like to be a middle school student here. Next question is a 2-parter. What first brought you and your family to Worcester, and what was it like for you being a new student when you think back on that first day or week or whatever? And let's kind of, I like the chronological approach here. So we'll go William and Chloe and Kayla and Henry, same order. Thanks.
So, I was introduced to Wooster by my parents. The pace of education at my public school was a little too slow for me, so my parents were searching through for better schools, and Wooster happened to pop up. So that's how I'm introduced to Wooster.
And hey, William, quick follow-up, and this is really fresh in your mind, so you might be our best respondent here. When you think back to your first day or first week, what was it like for you, kind of entering a community where the school year was underway? What did it feel like? What experiences did you have in your first day or 2 that kind of brought you up to speed?
I was honestly very nervous. I was in a bigger school, people I didn't know, things I didn't know about. I knew it was going to be a little harder than what I've experienced. but I had in the back of my head, everything's gonna be all right. You have to take what you can. Like the saying goes, life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. You gotta take what you got.
You know, buddy. Thank you for that. Chloe, go ahead. What brought you and your family to Worcester, and what do you remember about being a brand new student?
What brought my family to Worcester is the beautiful campus. The curriculum is amazing, different than other schools I've went to. There's different opportunities like classes and agency hour that we have. Um, and there's more freedom to choose what we'd like to do and things like that. Um, when I was a new student, like at Worcester, I really liked that there was teachers and students all around me that can help. I built really strong friendships there, and I love the curriculum. And yeah.
Great. Thank you, Chloe. Go ahead, Kayla.
So what brought me to Worcester was I was homeschooled for like 2 years before I went to Worcester. So we were really trying to figure out a school that would be low pressure and that would be like kind of a more supportive transition from getting homeschooled to going to an actual school. We were also looking for a school that would be more supportive and allow me to be in, well, when I went was 7th grade, because a lot of schools, because I was a little bit behind, so a lot of schools were kind of saying, well, we might need to push you back. But this school was really open to helping me learn in 7th grade. So yeah, that's what brought me to Worcester. And something or well, on my first day, and week in general, I was really nervous, but I realized that there was such an open community that was there for me, and I found my click like really fast, which yeah.
Glad to hear it. Thank you. Go ahead, Henry.
Okay, so I came to Worcester because my oldest brother Max, who graduated at Worcester 3 years ago, was here, and he really enjoyed it. And when I came to Worcester, one of the things I remember like it was yesterday was how welcoming my friends were, who are still at Worcester to this day, and how the teachers welcomed me. And I felt like I've been at this like when I first came for however long, and I've just never turned back. So yeah.
Thank you all. I'm keeping my eye on the clock here, kiddos, and I'm going to skip forward a little bit if you're keeping track on your sheets at home. So just don't be surprised there. Would love to hear what daily opportunities at Worcester help you develop confidence as a person and as a student. So if you just think of like a normal old day, and I guess today was Thursday, so it's a normal full day at school. What are the classes or co-curriculars or social opportunities or anything that are helping you develop that confidence? And let's hear from Kayla first on this one.
Sorry, can you repeat what the?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you think of a normal day at school, what are the parts of the day that you recognize help you develop confidence as a person and as a student?
So I really enjoy art, and I think, going to art, which is every other day for 8th grade, has really helped like build my confidence in like knowing who I am, because I express myself in art, and I feel like doing drawing and painting has really helped build my confidence in knowing who I am and my morals. So yeah.
Great, thank you. And William, would you respond to that question also about what are the parts of the school day to help you develop personal confidence and also confidence as a learner?
I would have to say agency hour, because during agency hour, you have a choice between like digital music, ceramics, Foursquare, and all these different opportunities. So like you can occasionally like pick something that you like and like get better at that. And also sometimes it's chosen for you and you learn that you're good at something that you didn't actually know that you would be good at, and you find like a new passion, and you learn social skills sometimes while you're at it, and it's a really fun time to expand your community.
Thank you for that answer. Have you actually discovered a previously unknown passion through agency hour this year?
Definitely Foursquare. I thought it was gonna be really hard, but then I realized that you just need to hit a ball, and I was all hooked.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you, William. As a quick refresher, if you weren't recalling from the original run through of the schedule, Wednesday afternoons we have 2 agency hour periods where it's effectively little electives that maybe you wouldn't typically find in a classroom learning experience. So there's a lot of legwork that goes into organizing that and ensuring that everybody has a constructive and fun place to be. And that is also the time when typically the core subject teachers and grade level teachers would have our weekly team meeting. So it's a very dynamic period of the week on those Wednesday afternoons. I think I'll ask for maybe a brief response from everybody on this next question. This is always a question that prospective students and families are seeking an understanding of. What does homework look like in your routine? And connected, where do independent work and learning fit in your school day? And let's go reverse chronological. So Henry, Kayla, Chloe, and William. What does homework look like in your routine? And what does independent work look like as a part of your school day?
Yeah, so when I get assigned work from other classes, I right after pretty much I have a win period and study hall, which really helps me get things done, especially with a teacher right next to me, especially in win. I've I think like 4 different teachers that can help me through that. And if I don't get everything done, I can do it at home and I feel like I have enough time to do so. So it all fits in my schedule pretty well, especially with having um sports outside of school and after school. So yeah.
Thanks, Henry. Go ahead, Kayla.
So I like to call it like more personal, like growth work, because I find that when I'm given homework from teachers, it more helps me grow on a topic. So some like work times that I have in my day, I have a very busy schedule after school a lot of times. So coming to Worcester, like doing work at home was something that was not really part of like the schedule. So I'm in the bridge program, which is basically helping to fill in gaps of learning that you might have struggled in with your old school. Um, Along with that, we also have we have a teacher that will help kind of guide you through work and also teach you things that you might not have known. So that's a time when I get a lot of my work done. But I also like Bridge because it's not just learning new stuff, but it's also, you know, staying on top of your work, getting organized. So yeah, Bridge is probably when I get my work done the most. So yeah.
All right, thank you for that. And now we'll hear from Chloe and William in terms of what homework and independent work look like in the early middle school program. Go ahead.
What my homework looks like in EMS is each week on Monday we get a packet, 2 packets, one from math and one from social studies. And it has a packet for each day of the week, except Saturday and Sunday, obviously. And we do that work like at Win usually, or if we have something else to do. And I find that, like what Henry said, Win is like when I find myself working alone the most.
Thank you, William.
And for me, I usually get most of my homework done at home, and it's not like mountains of homework that you need to get done. It's like usually we just need to do like a page of homework a day and we're done. It's not like something that we haven't learned yet. It's like something that we've like started learning on, so we get the gist of it, and like we get to grow ourselves on the subject during our homework. And like Henry and Chloe said, I also get some of my homework done during the win period.
Thank you all. And, maybe a good opportunity to hear from the pros. Megan, anything to add in terms of what homework or independent work expectations look like in early middle school? And then Molly, you're welcome to follow up.
Well, I would say that they're ever evolving. So we do what the kids said we do this year, which is a spelling packet and a math packet that changes currently with what we're teaching in the classroom, but it doesn't have to be that way next year. So we will take some feedback from the kids in how things are working and if they're feeling overwhelmed, and definitely be flexible with that. We also expect that they're going to be reading every day, but we don't ask them to fill out a reading log because I, as a parent, do not like reading logs. So we don't ask them to do that, but there's an expectation that they're still reading.
I would say that my general philosophy towards homework is that I kind of have settled into giving about 1 class period's worth of homework per week. And Henry and Kayla can speak to whether this seems about right, but it's about 20 pages of reading, and some questions would be a typical weekly homework assignment. And it's possible that a student might finish that during win time or during their study hall. And, we try to talk about time management strategies. And I think that's a really important part of learning. But I also know that they are busy outside of school, so we try not to give them too much.
Yeah, thank you all. The win time periods that folks are hearing about are certainly a hotbed of efficiency and independent learning supported by teachers when warranted. So that's been a great addition to our middle school schedule over the last 2 or 3 years. This question will go to William and Kayla and Chloe. The idea is that prospective students and families are typically seeking something at Wooster that is different from the educational environment that they've been a part of. So what would you describe as a difference between your experience at Wooster and the previous school or schools that you attended? And let's hear from William and then Kayla and then Chloe in that order. Thanks.
So can you repeat the question, please?
Sure thing, William. We were chatting a little bit at lunch today about, and you're, again, having been a mid-autumn entrant to Wooster. When you think about differences in your experience at Wooster as a learner, what is one that seems like a really meaningful difference to you versus any previous school that you attended?
I would definitely say community time. When, just our community in general, I get to hang out with 8th graders, 7th graders, and we all get to have a good time. I get to make more friends than just stuck in one class. Um, I've developed better social skills. And most of the activities that we do during community time are really fun. And I also have discovered a few passions during them.
I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you, William. And how about from Kayla? Positive differences that you found out.
So I found with Worcester, there's more one-on-one time with teachers. So say that you're struggling with English or say history. The English or history teacher will come during whatever free time that works for you, and they'll help with whatever you're struggling. They'll help finish work from the class. Because I feel like because I was homeschooled, but then I also had public school. I feel like in public school, obviously you do get help, but they're more focused on like an overall class. When with Worcester, they'll help with an overall class, but then if you need help, they're always open. Meeting times, if you ever need to email them, they're always open. So yeah.
Thanks, Kayla. And Chloe, go ahead. The question about a positive difference at Worcester versus any previous.
There is this class that we take called Makerspace. It's not offered in my old school. It's a class that you can either do woodwork or you can craft stuff. Right now, we're doing endangered animals. We're making them out of recycled materials. And that class really helps me develop my creativity and find more ways to do what I love.
Thank you, Chloe, and all for those responses. For the record, Henry was, I believe, the last cohort of students that progressed through our elementary school grades, which we do not any longer have. So Henry was just a little squirt when he came to Worcester, and would not be expected to contrast this environment to any prior environment. Would like to hear about, can you describe a school project recently where you felt really engaged? What were you studying? Were there hands-on components to the project? And Chloe and Kayla are going to respond to this question.
I'll go first.
Chloe, you actually just gave a great response, Chloe, about your endangered species project. So if you just want to double down on that, that's fine. And Kayla, you can go ahead, and we'll see if Chloe can think of another project.
So my favorite project that I've worked on recently was Beyond the Canvas, which is an art, and basically we take a famous painting that we find interest in, and we'll repaint it, we'll resketch it, and we'll add a personal aspect of ourselves. So for example, I'm doing the girl with the pearl earring as my painting, and I'm adding this earring that I'm wearing right now as her earring. So and you also add a sound aspect and what it would be like living in the painting. So yeah, that's probably my favorite project that I'm working on right now.
Thanks, Kayla. And Chloe, anything else regarding an engaging project for you recently? Or
Yeah, an engaging project for me, I already did it. It was last year, was book club projects. I read this book about a mouse, Ralph Mouse, and I chose, there was a bunch of options for how I can present my project, and I chose to do a poster. Like a movie, and I put Netflix, as any show you would see on Netflix, the book title, and I drew a little picture of it, and there was a bunch of information about the author under the Netflix poster that I made. So that was my favorite.
Thank you very much for sharing. Okay, we're going to, it is the long-awaited speed round, okay? So we have a number of unique programs and periods scheduled into our middle school experience. Attendees this evening, you've heard Agency Hour and Win Time and Makerspace and many other possibly brand new names. So we're just going to do one unique program per kid, and I'll just name it, and you can just describe what's going on in that class or subject or period at the moment. Okay. The first one for Kayla is Agency Hour.
Okay, so Agency Hour is a 2-period time on Wednesdays, 40 minutes per period, and it's basically a class that you get to choose what you do. So they can be yoga, acting, open studio, ceramics, independent reading, independent writing, and that is it's really fun, and you can choose which one that you want to do. So say you wanted to expand your interest in a topic, you could easily do that with Agency Hour.
Thank you very much. The next one to Henry is Math Workshop.
Okay, so Math Workshop, from my perspective, is kind of just an introduction to what I'm going to be learning next year, which is geometry, while I'm learning Algebra 1 right now. And it's been a lot of fun. We've done a lot of hands-on projects. Miss Dowd, who's teaching the Math Workshop, has been helping everyone with how to use graphs and just pretty much every tool you could use to graph shapes, and yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, so that's really it.
Thank you, Henry. We're going to hear from William about Wilderness Wednesdays.
So Wilderness Wednesday is basically when we go with our science teacher slash makerspace teacher, Mr. Centella, we go into the wilderness, hence the name Wilderness Wednesday, and we do it on a Wednesday. So we go into the woods. Currently, we are working on a giant log fort that's about the size of a large school bus, well, mini school bus. And so some of us are like occasionally like playing in the frozen creek. Some of us are helping like collect leaves and sticks to winterize the fort. Like two kids are building their own mini fort. I'm building my own mini fort. We're all just having a fun time in the woods. It's like a little bit of a hike to get there, and we're just admiring and enjoying nature.
Thank you, William. Kicking it back to Henry. This is regarding outdoor experiences as a science learner.
Okay, so this year in 8th grade, we just finished up autumn empiricism, which is probably my favorite project we've done. It was the whole idea was to go outside and collect data to share the changes from fall into winter. So what I did was like kind of a estimated like amount of percentage of leaves on a certain tree, which the tree sadly lost all of its leaves pretty quickly. But I also had a second option, which was temperature on the turf and like outside air temperature. So I wanted to compare it, and I found a lot of interesting results that I was able to share to the class. And while I was waiting to get like the results for the day of the tree and writing everything down, I was able to go down to the turf and play some soccer with my friends while getting everything done for the day. So that was definitely a lot of fun, especially in Mr. L's class.
All in the name of data collection, Henry. Thank you all. Students, what we thought might happen has happened, which is we were over prepared, which is good. We're gonna conclude now, and the final question for you four would be, again, regarding, you may have been listening at the beginning, one of the first questions for your teachers was about the small size at Worcester, the community experience, some of the relationships that can be formed within a small community. So from each of you, what's one connection that you've developed with a teacher or a coach or an administrator that has made an impact on you? And that could be at any point in your career as a Worcester student. And let's go William, Chloe, Henry, and Kayla in that order as our final question. Thanks.
A connection I've made with my teacher, Miss Christian, is well, both my teachers, Miss Lingenheld and Miss Christian, is they're both caring. Like if you need help with something, they'll help you. They won't just give you the straight up answer, but they won't just say just try it out yourself. Like they'll give you a little nudge and like a little background info to help you come up with the answer yourself. And like if you need help, they're there to help you.
Thanks, William. Go ahead, Chloe.
I formed a really good relationship with Miss Coleman. She's a bridge teacher and also an upper school math teacher. She was teaching us math for a little while, and we were just doing review at that point in time. And I think I needed a little push and something harder to challenge me. And she gave me some extra enrichment worksheets, and I did them, and she thought my work was wonderful.
Thanks, Chloe. Go ahead, Henry.
So at Worcester, pretty much every single teacher has had an impact in not even just school, but my life. Just in so many different ways that can, whether it can be like boosting my confidence, helping me out, like doing extra in math, staying on point in English writing, and pretty much just everything. Help, like every teacher can help you out and things, especially win time, which even for agency hour, I was spending time with Miss Newman working on a title for one of the agency hour things, Wink, which is like an upper school like newspaper, I guess. So it was a lot of fun and helped me out a lot. So yeah.
Thanks, Henry. And go ahead, Kayla.
So, a specific teacher that really helped me was Mrs. L. So last year when I came in 7th grade, she helped me in the bridge program a lot because I came at a very vulnerable time. And in the beginning of the year, she was very open to helping me. And yeah, she really helped me break out of my shell, which was something that I really needed. And she helped me form really strong relationships with a lot of people. So, yeah.
Thank you all very much. To our attendees, we are nearing the conclusion of our program. I think you can expect one additional or possibly more than one pop-up question at some point in the next few moments. We all hope that you have learned something or some things about the Worcester Middle School experience. The goal here is that you have had your curiosity or engagement piqued a little bit, and that you will take a next step, follow up with our admissions office. If there are any questions that you were hoping to have answered, or anything that any of us could provide to you to help you learn even more as you're considering your students' future, please reach out by all means.